At the beginning of the drama, we hear someone saying that our destinies are already written beforehand, and no one can change them. We never know what kind of situation we may face in life, or at what moment our fate is being written somewhere. Then we are introduced to the first god, whose name is Sung-woo. His job is to write good luck for humans. After that, we see the second god, Hyung-jun, whose responsibility is to create twists and turns in people's love lives. Then we also see Sam-sin, who is the one responsible for deciding whether a person's destiny should be finalized or changed. After that, we are introduced to the fourth god of the story, Myung. Then finally, we see our male lead, Shin Yu. At this moment, he is busy writing someone's destiny. In the human world, he is the owner of a building so that he can stay connected with humans and observe their lives closely. Then we see a woman arriving there who also lives in the same building. She respectfully calls Shin Yu landlord, and after greeting him politely, she leaves. Here, Myung asks Shin Yu whether that woman knows his real identity or not, but Shin Yu tells him that she only calls him landlord because she is a tenant just like everyone else. However, Myung doesn't believe him at all. Then Shin Yu jokingly says that if the woman ever discovered his true identity, she would never try to set him up with her daughter. After that, Shin Yu tells Myung that their meeting is about to start, so they should head toward the meeting hall. And suddenly, both of them teleport from the normal human world into another mysterious dimension. There, Sung-woo tells Myung and Shin Yu that once again, they have to fix certain destinies and continue working on human lives. Then the two of them begin deciding their tasks through a game of rock, paper, scissors. On the other side, we are finally introduced to our female lead, Misu. At this moment, she is inside a convenience store buying ramen. While paying for it, she notices the cashier girl being completely absorbed in watching a drama on her phone. Misu asks her whether the drama is good. The girl excitedly replies that the drama is extremely interesting. Hearing this, Misu walks outside with a huge smile on her face, because the writer of that drama is actually none other than herself. Then we see that even though Misu's mother usually doesn't enjoy watching dramas, she still loves watching her daughter's drama together with her. Later, when the two of them walk outside together, her mother advises her that she should start paying a little more attention to her appearance and skincare as well. But just then, Misu almost gets into a car accident, and surprisingly, the driver of the car turns out to be Shin Yu himself. Misu immediately tells her mother that they should file a complaint against him, but her mother quickly stops her and explains that the car belongs to their landlord, so they shouldn't create any trouble. On the other side, we see Shin Yu receiving a destiny book. As he starts reading it, he finds the story extremely interesting. One line especially catches his attention. It says that even while suffering from an illness, a man continues reading the story written by a girl because she was his first love. After reading this, Shin Yu becomes deeply interested. Then he goes to meet Sam-sin and asks her to find out who the writer of that story is. Using her powers, Sam-sin reveals that the story was written by Misu, and that her destiny book is currently under Myung's control. The moment Shin Yu hears this, he decides that he needs both destiny books because he wants to create a happy ending for their love story. Then Shin Yu meets Myung and asks him to hand over Misu's destiny book as well. But Myung has no intention of giving it away so easily. Instead, he assigns Shin Yu his own work as a condition, and Shin Yu is left with no choice but to agree. After that, we see Misu at her house. Her friend Rishi has come to meet her, but Misu doesn't want to face her because she has lied to Rishi about studying at a prestigious college, while in reality she is just a scriptwriter. So to avoid meeting her friend, Misu even removes the batteries from the doorbell so Rishi won't be able to enter. But later, Rishi somehow gets help from Shin Yu. Using his supernatural powers, Shin Yu opens the gate easily, and Misu becomes completely shocked because she had already removed the batteries herself. Then later, Rishi gets Misu ready and takes her to a dinner gathering with several other people so she can socialize a little. But unfortunately, everything goes horribly wrong there. The people at the dinner start making fun of Misu. They even begin insulting her writing and criticizing her scripts badly. However, Misu is not the kind of girl who quietly backs down. She stands up for herself and angrily walks out of the restaurant. Her friend quickly runs after her, trying to stop her, but Misu ends up scolding her too. She says that if her friend hadn't forced her to come there in the first place, none of this humiliation would have happened. After that, Misu gets onto a bus and leaves from there. She was actually heading toward the place where she usually sits alone and reads online reviews about her dramas, where she receives all kinds of comments, both positive and negative. On the other side, we see Shin Yu finally beginning the love story between Misu and Barum. According to the Destiny script he had written, the two of them were supposed to meet in the rain, and exactly at that moment, Misu appears there. Rain suddenly starts pouring heavily, and she doesn't even have an umbrella with her. Just like in a perfectly scripted romantic scene, the male lead, Barum, arrives there holding an umbrella for her. Meanwhile, Shin Yu watches everything from a distance. As he observes them, he starts thinking that human lives are completely scripted, just like movies. But true love only belongs to those people who actually have the courage to protect and maintain that love. Then we see a flashback scene where once again Misu had been trapped in the rain, and someone had come toward her holding an umbrella. However, this time we still don't get to see that person's face. After that, we see Samson scolding Myung because he wasn't taking his work seriously at all. Instead of carefully writing meaningful destinies, he would lazily create boring stories where two people simply grew old together and then died. That was basically the entire story he used to write for humans. Because of this, Samson tells him that he needs to take his responsibilities much more seriously. Meanwhile, Shin Yu becomes troubled because despite everything being perfectly scripted, Misu still didn't fall in love with Barum. On the other side, we see Misu talking to her best friend Sul. She tells her that she met Barum the previous night and still has his umbrella with her. Since Sul had already mentioned that Barum lives near her office, Misu asks whether she should return the umbrella to him. Then Sul reveals something surprising. She says that after Misu left last night, Barum had secretly followed behind her and had even boarded the same bus as her. Hearing this, Misu becomes shocked because she never realized it at all. Then she starts describing the entire moment like a romantic drama scene. She says that Barum suddenly appeared carrying an umbrella for her, then both of them walked home together, and at one point he even protected her from getting wet. According to her, the entire moment was absolutely perfect. But then she says something strange. Even though Barum was standing extremely close to her and looked incredibly handsome, her heart didn't beat faster even for a single second. She didn't feel anything at all. Hearing this, Sul reminds her that even back in high school, she had written a very similar story in one of her novels. But then both of them decide to ignore the topic. Sul advises her not to ignore Barum and says she should at least meet him again using the umbrella as an excuse. Maybe he could actually become her first love. In the next scene, we see Misu inside a bookstore. She was trying to pick up a copy of her own book when suddenly someone else grabs the same book first. And surprisingly, that person turns out to be Shin Yu. Misu politely tells him that he can keep the book, but Shin Yu replies that he's actually more interested in the writer than the book itself. Then later, when Misu walks outside, she notices her landlord's car parked there, and Shin Yu was sitting inside it. He even offers to drop her home. Then, while sitting inside the car, Misu asks him how he even knew that she was a writer. Shin Yu tells her that her mother has talked about her many times before. After that, the two continue having a long conversation. Misu notices that Shin Yu owns a huge collection of books, and he explains that he absolutely loves reading. Then Shin Yu suddenly asks her about her first love, but Misu immediately avoids the question and says that it's way too early for such personal conversations. After that, Misu returns home and directly asks her mother whether she had already told Shin Yu about her books, but her mother denies it completely. Then, just as her mother is leaving, Misu suddenly receives a message from Barum. He was asking for her opinion while selecting a shirt. At that moment, Misu starts thinking that according to the novel's storyline, he should call her next. And exactly like the novel predicted, Barum immediately calls her. He asks whether she still has his umbrella, and requests her to return it. The moment this happens exactly like her own written story, Misu becomes completely stunned. Even her phone slips from her hand in shock. Then her mother arrives there and asks her what happened. And suddenly, Misu asks her mother where her old novel is now. Then her mother reveals that a few days ago she met Shin Yu, who looked extremely troubled at the time. So she lent that old novel to him for a few days. And on the other side, we see Shin Yu reading that exact same novel. But the funny thing is that he still has absolutely no idea that the novel was actually written by Misu herself. Meanwhile, Myung arrives there carrying wine bottles with him. Shin Yu immediately scolds him for bringing wine there again. But then Myung notices that Shin Yu is still obsessing over that love story and even taking inspiration from another person's novel. Shin Yu quickly defends himself and says that he is not copying the story at all. He's only taking inspiration from it because he wants to create the best love story possible. Then Myung gives him another idea. He says that Shin Yu should send the two leads somewhere together alone, so they can naturally become closer and start developing feelings for each other. Since Shin Yu had no better idea at the moment, he immediately agrees with this plan. On the other side, Samsin also catches Shin Yu secretly taking ideas from a human's diary. Shin Yu once again explains that he's only borrowing inspiration for the romance portions. Meanwhile, Myung keeps repeating that isolating the couple together is the best solution. Then we see Misu attending someone's funeral, but her mother had become confused about whether she was supposed to attend a male funeral or a female funeral because Misu's father's side of the family had sent her there. At the same time, we also see Ba-room meeting his director, who was actually his relative as well. The director advises him that he should meet his father once again, but Ba-room refuses completely. He had already promised himself that he would only meet his father after becoming a successful writer. So instead, the director gives him another task and tells him to find one of the office staff members who had apparently run away somewhere. On the other side, we see Misu taking photographs there when suddenly she runs into Ba-room again. Misu asks him what he's doing there, and Ba-room explains that he came searching for someone. After hearing that, Misu casually says goodbye and immediately leaves from there. Meanwhile, all the gods are watching this entire situation from above, and they are completely shocked. They cannot understand what kind of girl Misu even is. Despite all these romantic coincidences and perfect encounters with Ba-room, she still isn't feeling anything for him at all. So now the gods start trying even more tricks. They suddenly make it start raining again. Then Ba-room quickly comes toward Misu, removes his jacket and places it over her. He even says that maybe he wished too strongly that it would rain whenever the two of them met. But instead of becoming romantic, Misu simply tells him that they should probably find somewhere to hide from the rain first. Meanwhile, the gods come up with another plan. They decide that Misu should become sick because then Ba-room would take care of her, and naturally she would fall in love with him. And exactly like that, Misu suddenly gets a fever. The gods become excited and think that now Ba-room will light a fire and warmly care for her. And Ba-room actually tries to do that. But then Misu completely ruins the romantic atmosphere by telling him, "What century are you living in? Just call an ambulance." Hearing this, even the gods become speechless. At this point, almost everyone gives up hope. Then Shin Yu himself becomes frustrated and declares that now he will personally meet Misu and figure out what kind of man she actually likes. After that, he will continue writing the story himself. Then later, we see Misu at the hospital where she was receiving glucose treatment. At the same time, Ba-room suddenly gets a call telling him that he urgently needs to go near his college. So he tells Misu to wait for him and leaves from there. And right at that moment, in a dramatic slow-motion scene, Shin Yu and Ba-room cross paths with each other. When Misu discovers that Shin Yu is there, Shin Yu quickly starts making excuses and says he had only come to visit someone. But in reality, he had specifically come there for her. Misu tells him that it's okay because weird things had already been happening to her since the morning anyway. Then suddenly, loud noises start coming from Misu's stomach because she was extremely hungry, so Shin Yu takes her out to eat with him. There, Shin Yu quietly starts observing her carefully and tries to understand what kind of person she truly is through her conversations. Then, when they arrive at the restaurant, Misu starts eating very quickly. Seeing this, Shin Yu asks whether she was really that hungry. Misu explains that she's simply under a lot of stress all the time. Then Shin Yu tells her that if she continues going against her destiny, she will only keep suffering more and more. And once again, he starts asking her questions about her first love. Then later, when the two walk outside together, snowfall suddenly begins. Misu becomes confused about why all these dramatic things keep happening around her. In Korea, people believe that if you see the first snowfall together with someone you love, then you'll stay together with that person forever. Then Shin Yu suddenly starts driving very fast and quickly brings Misu to a grocery store before rushing inside himself. Meanwhile, Misu unexpectedly runs into Ba-room there. Ba-room tells her that he had actually gone to the hospital looking for her earlier, but by the time he arrived, she had already left. Then suddenly, Misu notices Director Kim nearby. The moment she sees him, she quickly hides together with Ba-room and nervously asks if he knows Director Kim personally. Ba-room casually explains that he's currently working with him, which completely shocks Misu. Then Ba-room receives a phone call from Kim and has to leave immediately. But Shin Yu secretly witnesses this entire situation from afar, and while watching them, he starts wondering why fate keeps bringing Kim between these two people over and over again. At the same time, inside the car, Director Kim is behaving extremely rudely toward Ba-room. During this, Ba-room receives another call saved under cousin, but Kim orders him not to answer it. However, when Ba-room finally picks up the call anyway, It turns out to actually be from the director himself. Later, when Kim temporarily stops the car to use the restroom, Ba-room quietly escapes from there and leaves on his own. After that, he visits a flower shop and orders an expensive bouquet made with the most luxurious flowers available. At first, he plans to simply send it through delivery, but the very next day, he personally arrives at Misu's restaurant carrying the bouquet himself. And honestly, even he looks completely confused about his own feelings at this point. Meanwhile, we see Shin Yu and Myung secretly writing in a book, saying that now Ba-room will arrive, give flowers to Misu, and eventually fall in love with her. But then they start wondering whether fate really works exactly the way they write it. And right at that moment, Ba-room accidentally spills coffee all over the mysterious book while trying not to bump into someone. Because of that, everything written on the pages suddenly disappears. Then we go back a little earlier, where Misu's mother had brought coffee for Shin Yu and thanked him for safely dropping Misu home the previous night. While talking casually, she also jokingly mentions that Misu never has time for dating because she's always too busy. Then she indirectly hints that if Misu ever dates someone, it should probably be a good person close to her already. Basically, she was subtly suggesting Shin Yu as her future son-in-law. Myung immediately starts teasing Shin Yu about it. So in response, Shin Yu jokingly writes inside the book that from today onward, Ba-room and Misu will officially start dating each other. But right after that, Ba-room spills coffee on the book, erasing the destiny that had just been written. Later, Ba-room visits Misu's mother and asks whether she knows someone named Mason. She reveals that she herself is actually Mason. Then Ba-room explains that he came there on behalf of his company to meet Mason personally. Hearing this makes Misu's mother extremely happy, and she excitedly invites him into the house. Meanwhile, Misu is busy writing the next episode of her drama script, but no matter how hard she tries to focus, she keeps thinking about Shin Yu over and over again. Then Ba-room enters the house and notices an umbrella near the entrance that looks strangely familiar to him. When Misu's mother calls Misu outside, she sees Ba-room standing there and immediately panics before running straight back into her room. Because until now, Ba-room never realized this was actually Misu's house. Then, while sitting in the living room, Ba-room notices several books nearby. They are the exact same books he used to read back when he was hospitalized. And interestingly, the writer of those books was actually Misu herself, but Ba-room doesn't know that yet. He mistakenly assumes Misu's mother wrote them. Since he became deeply attracted to the person who wrote those books, he suddenly starts asking about Misu instead, because obviously he can't exactly date her mother. After this, Ba-room asks Misu about Shin Yu. And later, he directly approaches Shin Yu himself and asks why his name was written inside that mysterious book. Then Shin Yu shows him the book again, but now the pages are completely blank. Of course, an ordinary human wouldn't normally be able to read words written inside a god's book anyway. Later, when Myung and Shin Yu enter the elevator together, both of them become shocked while discussing how Ba-room somehow managed to see his own name written in the book earlier. At that moment, Misu also arrives there and asks Shin Yu to return her diary. Shin Yu tells her that he left it at his second house, a place he rarely visits. Then Misu asks for his phone number so she can contact him. But since Shin Yu doesn't even own a phone, Myung ends up giving her his own number instead. Meanwhile, Ba-room keeps overthinking the strange situation because he clearly saw his own name inside the book before, yet later nothing was there anymore. At the same time, we see Shin Yu explaining to Myung that he secretly copied the ending of Misu's love story from her diary because she could ask for the book back at any time. And when Myung starts reading Misu's diary properly, he becomes completely shocked after discovering the truth hidden inside it. In the ending of her novel, Misu finally gets the love she always wanted, but right after that, she dies in an accident. Hearing this completely breaks Samson emotionally. So Myung brings her food and tries comforting her, explaining that Misu's writing style has always been different from everyone else's. And here, we also learn something important about Myung's own writing style. Whenever he writes stories, he sometimes intentionally leaves empty spaces in between, so humans can write parts of their destiny themselves. Meanwhile, Shin Yu keeps thinking about Misu non-stop. And on the other side, Misu also can't stop thinking about her mysterious landlord. At the office too, the company president is happily discussing the new episode and giving interviews confidently. But Kim is secretly burning with jealousy while watching all of this happen. Then we see Ba-room reading the episode Misu had sent him. And honestly, the happiness on his face looks exactly the same as when he used to read novels in the hospital. After thinking carefully and contacting several old friends, Ba-room finally realizes the truth. Misu herself was the real writer of that novel he loved so much. At the same time, Shin Yu goes to meet Song-woo and tells him not to keep bringing Ba-room and Misu together anymore, since he's the one writing Ba-room's destiny now. But Song-woo refuses to stop. Meanwhile, we also see Sam-sin receiving money from the bank and finally getting a house, which makes her incredibly happy. Later, we see Shin Yu discovering that Misu had left many letters inside his mailbox, but instead of reading them, he simply throws them away. Unfortunately, Misu catches him doing this and immediately scolds him, saying that he should have at least read the letters once before throwing them out. But Shin Yu calmly replies, "I already know you're a writer. Whatever you wrote must have been good anyway." Then he simply walks away. Afterward, Misu again asks her mother whether she definitely didn't tell Shin Yu that she's the real writer, but her mother denies saying anything. Then Shin Yu writes inside the book that Misu will go buy yogurt. And exactly as written, Misu soon arrives at the store to buy yogurt, where Shin Yu is already waiting. There, he finally returns her diary to her. Then, while casually talking, the two of them naturally start walking together. During the conversation, Shin Yu once again asks her about the guy she likes. But then suddenly, he realizes something strange. Without any destination or reason, he has somehow walked extremely far together with Misu. And for a god like him, this kind of behavior should be completely impossible. Myung is secretly watching all of this from afar, so he writes inside Misu's book that they will keep walking together longer. And exactly like that, they continue walking until sunset arrives. Eventually, they stop at a quiet place where Misu sits down to rest while eating yogurt. Shin Yu also sits nearby on another bench and starts eating yogurt too. But while quietly looking at Misu, he suddenly realizes just how beautiful she actually is. Later, when Shin Yu returns, the gods start teasing him and jokingly threaten Myung because he was the one interfering with the book. But instead of reacting angrily, Shin Yu simply writes in the book once again that Misu will go buy yogurt. Meanwhile, Misu is talking to Sol while entering the store. Sol asks her what exactly happened between her and Ba-room, because the things he said sounded exactly like lines from her novel. But Misu quickly denies everything and says that nothing like that should ever happen, because if her novel becomes reality, then in the end, both lovers die, including the female lead herself. And right then, Shin Yu suddenly appears outside the store and directly tells her, "You must not die." Hearing this makes Misu burst into laughter because his statement sounds so random and strange to her. But at that exact moment, Shin Yu suddenly feels pain in his heart, because gods are never supposed to become emotionally attached to humans. If they do, the consequences are never good. So Shin Yu awkwardly pretends that his heart hurts simply because he ate too much yogurt. Then he goes back inside and starts eating even more yogurt. And of course, Misu ends up paying the entire bill for him too. Later, Shin Yu arrives near Myung and Sam-sin and starts explaining that something strange keeps happening inside his heart whenever he's near Misu. At the same time, another guy suddenly arrives there and misunderstands the situation completely. He thinks these two men are bothering Sam-sin, so he immediately steps in to protect her and takes her away dramatically. And honestly, Sam-sin enjoys every second of this misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Myung asks Shin Yu what exactly he's feeling. And Shin Yu admits that whenever he's around Misu, his heartbeat becomes incredibly fast. So eventually, Shin Yu makes a decision. He decides that he must return to Ba-room once again and repeat what happened before, spill coffee on the destiny book, and change fate through Ba-room's hands again. And just as he's about to make Ba-room spill coffee onto the book, Kim suddenly appears there as well. Because of the sudden collision, the coffee accidentally spills directly onto Shin Yu's face instead of the book. At that moment, Shin Yu immediately realizes that this entire situation might actually be Song-woo's doing. So afterward, when Shin Yu goes to meet Song-woo again, he discovers that another god is already there instead. That's when he learns something shocking. Song-woo has been eliminated. The reason was that he became emotionally attached to a human girl. That girl was originally supposed to die, but Song-woo secretly caused an accident for her abusive father instead, and changed her fate. Hearing this completely freezes Shin Yu. After returning from there, he quietly starts thinking deeply about everything, because now, even he has started becoming emotionally attached to Misu. And after Shin Yu leaves, Myung secretly writes something inside Misu's destiny book, because he has already realized that Misu's behavior has been becoming stranger and stranger lately. Meanwhile, Ba-room arrives to meet Misu, and even tells her that Shin Yu had come to meet him earlier. Hearing this instantly embarrasses Misu badly, but strangely this also causes pain inside Shin Yu's heart again, because Misu herself is emotionally troubled too. Soon afterward, Shin Yu arrives near Misu and even calls her mother. At the same time, Myung writes inside Misu's destiny book that the next person she meets will end up getting into an accident right there. But while talking with Samsin, Myung suddenly realizes that something has gone terribly wrong. Meanwhile, Misu's mother starts advising her daughter that she takes too much pressure alone and should really hire an assistant to help her. Later, while Sol and another person are discussing Misu at the restaurant under a different name, Myung secretly overhears them and confirms that they are indeed talking about Misu. After returning, Myung desperately searches for Misu's destiny book and writes inside it that none of Misu's questions will receive any answers anymore. By now, Myung has already sensed that something terrible is about to happen, and to stop it somehow, he takes this drastic step because Shin Yu has clearly become attached to Misu emotionally. Then we see Misu coming outside, where Shin Yu is already waiting for her. At that moment, Misu's mother suddenly announces that from now onward, Shin Yu will officially work as Misu's assistant. Honestly, even Shin Yu himself had no idea about this until that moment, but eventually he agrees, and Myung immediately realizes that now nothing can stop this anymore, because Shin Yu will now remain beside Misu all the time. Later that night, Samsin meets the same guy again, and he buys her a hot dog. And just like Shin Yu, even Samsin's heart slowly starts reacting emotionally too. After that, we see Shin Yu inside Misu's house when Ba-room suddenly arrives there as well. The moment they see each other, both men instantly become jealous. Then after Ba-room finally leaves, Shin Yu desperately tries to get Misu's attention toward himself, but after failing repeatedly, he finally cheats by writing inside the book that Misu will look at him. And exactly like that, Misu suddenly walks over toward him. The moment she comes close, Shin Yu's heartbeat once again starts racing uncontrollably. But instead of saying anything romantic, Misu simply asks him if he wants to eat noodles. So the two of them start eating noodles together while playfully competing with each other over who can eat faster. And surprisingly, Shin Yu loses the competition. This completely frustrates him because he can't believe that a literal god somehow lost at eating noodles. Then later, we also see Sol visiting Misu. She has 2 photographs with her, both taken at the exact same place and exact same time. And with that, the story suddenly shifts into the past. Now we finally get to see Shin Yu's side of the story. He is standing alone at a bus stop while heavy rain falls around him. But strangely, not a single drop of rain affects him at all. Then a little girl gets off a bus nearby, and that child turns out to be none other than young Misu herself. The moment she notices Shin Yu, she immediately tells her mother that the rain isn't touching that strange boy at all. But just then, little Misu suddenly falls down. Shin Yu instinctively tries to run toward her to help, but before he can do anything, Myung appears beside him and reminds him that he is no longer a normal human anymore. He has now become a god, and gods are never allowed to interfere directly in the lives of ordinary humans. But despite knowing the rules, Shin Yu still chooses to save Misu from her accident and uses his powers for the very first time. And because of that single action, he gets eliminated on the very first day of becoming a god. Later, Samson learns about this story from another god, about the god who got eliminated on his first day because of a human girl. Then we move forward 14 years later. We learn that gods are sometimes given another chance after making mistakes, but every time they are reborn, they completely lose the memories of their previous life. And not only that, they also forget the humans they were emotionally connected to. That's why Misu remembers absolutely nothing about Shin Yu. And Shin Yu also remembers nothing about their past connection. However, the rules themselves still remain inside his mind. In fact, he had already explained these rules to Myung before as well. Then the next day, we see Misu riding a bus while heavy rain starts pouring outside once again. And there, standing outside with an umbrella in his hand, is Shin Yu. He quietly hands her the umbrella and tells her not to walk in the rain without one ever again. And honestly, that small conversation is all they share in that moment. Afterward, Shin Yu asks Myung to get him admitted into school, and naturally, he ends up joining the exact same class as Misu. From that point onward, Misu and Shin Yu constantly keep having tiny arguments and playful little fights with each other. And honestly, the funniest part is that whenever Shin Yu returns home, yogurt somehow keeps appearing inside his bag even though he himself has no idea where it came from. On top of that, Shin Yu is insanely good at studies too. So because of this, Misu eventually takes him out for lunch one day. And during their conversation, we learn something important. That secret necklace Misu always treasured so much was actually suggested by Shin Yu himself in the past. Then while they're eating, Misu tells him that she'll pay this time, and next time Shin Yu can pay instead. But Shin Yu refuses immediately. That's when Misu teasingly tells him, "Idiot, if you pay next time, then I'll get another excuse to meet you again." Afterward, when they return home, snowfall suddenly starts. And in Korea, there's this belief that the person you see during the first snowfall is the one you'll spend your whole life with. At that moment, Misu is happily enjoying the snow, while Shin Yu is busy silently staring at her instead. Then the next day, rumors spread throughout the entire class that Shin Yu and Misu are dating each other. Of course, Shin Yu immediately denies it. But right after that, another boy from their class suddenly asks Misu out on a date in front of everyone. And surprisingly, Misu immediately starts walking outside together with him. Seeing this makes Shin Yu unbelievably jealous. Filled with anger and jealousy, he storms into the hall and desperately starts searching for Ba-room's destiny book. And at that exact moment, Myung arrives there too. But before he can calm Shin Yu down or explain anything properly, Shin Yu gets eliminated once again. Then several years pass, and eventually Shin Yu returns once again to Misu's restaurant. The moment Misu sees him, she instantly falls for him all over again. Shin Yu orders coffee from her, but the only thing Misu really knows how to make properly is caramel coffee. So Shin Yu simply tells her to bring him that instead. But secretly, Misu ends up making him order the most expensive coffee on the menu anyway. And slowly, day after day keeps passing like this. Shin Yu constantly visits the restaurant, sits there quietly, and writes inside his mysterious book. Then one day, while heavy rain pours outside, Misu tells him that it's already time to close the restaurant. Still, Shin Yu stays there for 15 more minutes. And when they finally step outside together, Misu only has one umbrella. Shin Yu quietly takes it and walks away with it. But while walking, he secretly thinks that he should have given the umbrella to Misu instead. However, he intentionally doesn't do it because he wants another excuse to meet her again later. After this, one day Misu visits a ship park for work related to her project. While talking to her mother on the phone, she accidentally falls somewhere badly and seriously injures her leg. Her phone also breaks completely. Meanwhile, her mother becomes extremely worried because she suddenly loses contact with her. And at the same time, Shin Yu overhears everything. Meanwhile, Misu is sitting there completely injured and helpless. Her leg hurts badly and she has no way to contact anyone anymore. That's when Shin Yu suddenly appears there. And honestly, Misu can't even believe he actually came. Shin Yu awkwardly explains that her mother was extremely worried, so he had no choice but to come look for her. But then Misu directly asks him the question she truly wants answered. "Do you like me?" Shin Yu says absolutely nothing. Instead, he quietly tells her to climb onto his back so he can carry her home. But before doing that, Misu suddenly moves closer to him and kisses him. Completely shocked, Shin Yu asks, "What was that?" And Misu calmly replies that she simply wanted to confirm her feelings. But the moment Shin Yu emotionally accepts those feelings in his heart, he gets eliminated once again. And once again, all his memories disappear completely. After that, the story shifts back to the present timeline. Now, Shin Yu has finally realized one thing clearly. He truly loves Misu. Later, Shin Yu and Myung visit the restaurant where Misu and Sol are. During the conversation, Misu starts praising the restaurant manager, who is also her close friend. And hearing this immediately makes Shin Yu jealous again. Afterward, the two of them go for a walk together. During the walk, Shin Yu places his jacket around Misu's shoulders, and for the very first time in his existence, he walks while holding someone's hand. During this moment, Misu finally starts believing that Shin Yu might actually be a god for real. Then, unable to control his emotions anymore, Shin Yu quietly silences her by hugging her tightly. Later, Shin Yu also asks Myung whether he himself was Misu's first love from the beginning, because during their walk, Misu had told him stories about her past, and now Shin Yu has finally started understanding what truly happened between them across all those years. Then we see that Misu hasn't met Shin Yu for a very long time. Nobody knows where he disappeared to. At the same time, Ba-room returns after getting selected in an audition. While looking through old selfies, he notices Misu's old high school picture, and suddenly realizes that Shin Yu is standing in the background of that photo too. But Misu herself had never noticed this before. However, However, the moment she carefully looks at the picture again, she finally realizes that the boy in the background really was Shin Yu all along. And right then, her mother suddenly calls her and informs her that Shin Yu has started vacating the building, and nobody can find him anywhere anymore. After hearing this, Misu makes up her mind about something important and immediately goes to meet Myung. Then, she starts asking him about Shin Yu. However, Myung refuses to tell her anything. So Misu asks him why he keeps asking about her school because before her name was changed, she used to be a completely different person. But after that incident, all of her memories had actually been erased. Hearing this completely shocks Myung because all of this was extremely unexpected for him. On the other side, we see Shin Yu again, and Misu comes to meet him. Once again, Shin Yu prepares himself to disappear and lose himself completely. After that, Shin Yu returns to work beside Misu as her assistant. There, he begins reading the episodes of her novel and realizes that Misu has finally written a happy ending this time. Hearing this, Shin Yu starts encouraging her, but strangely, Misu doesn't seem very pleased by it. Later, Shin Yu even cooks food for Misu like a personal maid, but Misu refuses to eat it. After that, Shin Yu notices her diary inside her bag as well. So when Shin Yu asks about it, Misu simply tells him that from tomorrow onward, he should at least arrive at work on time. Then, Shin Yu meets Ba-room and hands him his destiny book. Ba-room starts reading everything written inside it and asks Shin Yu why he gave his story such a tragic ending. He asks him why he killed Misu. At the same time, we also see Misu, who lies to her mom and runs toward the ship. And all of this is being watched by Myung because he already knew everything beforehand, since all of these events had already been written inside the destiny book. Then, Misu remembers something from the past. Back when Misu was little, on the day Shin Yu had saved her from the accident before being eliminated, Misu had given him a small note. In that note, she had written that whenever he parked his car somewhere, he should place this note on it. The note said, "I'll be back soon," so that other people wouldn't curse at him or complain about the parking. After giving him the note, she quietly leaves. And across all those lifetimes, we see that Shin Yu has kept that same note inside his car all this time. Then we also see Samson returning home from school when Shin Yu suddenly comes to meet her. There, he quietly says goodbye to her because he already knows that difficult times are about to come into her life. Afterward, we see Ba-room writing something inside the book. He writes that from now on, he will write his own destiny himself. He says that he will neither meet Misu nor kill her anymore. Everything will change now. Then we see Shin Yu placing Ba-room's book away, because now Ba-room himself has become responsible for his own fate. At that moment, Myung also arrives there. So Shin Yu hands over his note to Myung. And through that note, Myung realizes that Shin Yu has now become a human and has already been eliminated as a god. Myung scolds him, but Shin Yu hugs him one final time and asks him for one last favor. Then, from far away, he sees Misu standing there. Actually, the thing Shin Yu had requested from Myung was that he wanted to see Misu one last time from a distance. He didn't want to talk to her. He only wanted to quietly watch her walking alone one last time. But then something completely unexpected happens. Myung also writes that the moment Misu sees Shin Yu, all of her lost memories will return instantly. And exactly that happens. The moment Misu sees Shin Yu, she suddenly remembers everything from the very beginning until now. Every single memory comes flooding back into her mind. She starts crying loudly while screaming Shin Yu's name again and again. And Shin Yu also cannot bear seeing her in that condition. So he immediately starts running toward Misu. But right in front of Misu's eyes, Shin Yu gets eliminated, and even at the very end, the two of them still fail to touch each other one last time. After this, the scene shifts to 5 years later. Even now, Misu continues waiting for Shin Yu. She still places letters inside his mailbox with the hope that maybe someday Shin Yu will come back and read them. By now, Misu has become an extremely famous writer. She no longer needs to hide her identity anymore. In fact, she even gives another young girl an opportunity to work as a writer under her. Then she meets Ba-room one final time because Ba-room is leaving for another country, from where he may never return again. And before leaving, Ba-room finally removes the memory of his first love from his heart and walks away. After that, we see Misu once again pressing the button for Shin Yu's floor, just like always, hoping that maybe someday that floor would finally open. And for the first time in all these years, the entrance to that floor actually opens. The truth is that before disappearing, Myung had written something inside Misu's destiny book. He had written that even after Shin Yu's elimination, Misu would continue remembering everything. And one day, she herself would change her own destiny. Because Myung felt guilty. He believed that if he had written Misu's destiny properly, then maybe Shin Yu would never have suffered like this. And after writing all of that, even Myung gets eliminated. Then, exactly as written, Misu reaches the mysterious hall where another destiny god appears. But the moment he sees a human there, he gets frightened. Seeing this, Misu jokingly says, "Why is every god I meet a little crazy?" Then she smiles and walks away. And finally, we discover that inside Misu's book, it had already been written that she would meet her first, second, and third love once again, meaning Shin Yu. Shin Yu would return once more as a god, and that's exactly what happens. The moment Misu walks outside, snowfall begins once again, and from across the street, Shin Yu passes by her. But this time, Shin Yu doesn't recognize Misu at all. At the same time, Myung also starts getting reborn as another god. Then Shin Yu approaches him and starts explaining the rules. But when Shin Yu checks his mailbox, he finds countless letters written by Misu waiting inside. In those letters, Misu had written, "I can't keep waiting anymore. Hurry up and come back already. Otherwise, I'll tell everyone that you're actually a destiny god." And because of those letters, Shin Yu finally becomes curious about Misu. And with that, our drama finally comes to a happy ending. Although, if Misu had turned Shin Yu into a complete human inside the Destiny book, then maybe this story would have ended differently. But now, it feels like this story is destined to repeat itself forever. And with that, the writer leaves the ending up to us viewers to decide what happens next.